Hey y'all, welcome to Challenge Accepted. I am Frank and I'm joined by Thomas.
Aloha, everybody. We're back with the boys.
Yes, we are with this explosive finale, major twist, big surprises. What was your immediate reaction?
This show is perfect. It is perfect. I love this show so damn much. I text you right after with
Mhm.
a lot of expletives, just like holy crap, basically this show. And man, they landed the plane and then some. It
Yeah.
was effortless, like a feather falling on the runway. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. I watched it at midnight. And every time they wanted me to be surprised, they did it. You know what's nice is like, I don't want to compare this to other shows. I won't even say the other shows that I'm comparing it to. But there's been a
I
lot of
think I
shows
know.
recently that have like, hey, this is the promise we're making. This is what we want to intend to happen to you. This is the emotional impact, and nothing is being delivered properly. Meanwhile, when I'm watching this, and like, spoiler alert, obviously, but when Newman gets ripped in half, I'm like, no. More important, actually, when Homelander lasers her, and I was like, what have you done? Like, that's my reaction immediately, and I'm like, that's what they were trying to get out of me. Great job, guys. That's
Oh
perfect.
my God. You're right. The setup, the payoff after everything that they do in this show, it feels earned. There's weight to it.
Yep.
There's adds drama to it. You're like, what? And it's
Hmm.
like, how can the show keep surprising me? And it does every time. There's still one
Yep.
thing every week where I'm like, holy shit. And this episode, no exception. There's so many good character moments, and then like putting people in different positions around Homelander, or just now with Butcher, who's kind
Yep.
of doing his own maniacal turn in a way. Wow, we were in for a
Mhm.
treat for season 5. But yeah, let's break this one down because man, there's some meat on this bones.
There sure is. You're gonna have a hard time fitting this into 2 minutes, but here you go. Start.
Okay, so it starts with VNN talking about January 6th. So, if you don't see the real life comparison there,
Lots of
you're living under a
that.
rock. We got Huey and Annie, and they propose to each other. Then we see that Butcher is in a hospital bed. Grace Mallory shows up. She'll become a bigger role later on. But we also see that the shapeshifter goes to Annie to recharge after Huey and Annie have proposed to each other. Now, Huey calls Butcher, and basically, Butcher just tells him, hey, tell the boys I'm sorry. We'll
Mhm.
definitely have to dive into that a little bit more. Then Homelander basically brings Newman onto Firecracker's show, lasers her, like you were saying earlier, outs her to the whole country, and it seems like everything that she was planning has just instantly fallen apart. Now, they ask Ashley for a list of people who the boys, or sorry, that the seven should take out because they have dirt on Homelander. They need to basically take them out. We see what happens later. Mother's Milk calls Huey, and the boys kind of get together, pushing Frenchie to basically make this virus. Now, President Singer is kind of down in this bunker. We see that the boys are there protecting them or protect him, and the shapeshifter is there as Annie. All hell breaks loose. She kind of kills everybody almost, kills Kimiko. We know that she can revive, and then Annie comes in and saves the day. Um, where are we at now? Now the shifter. Nope,
Yeah,
past
30
that
seconds
part.
left is where you're at.
Oof, that said, there's just so many big moments. I'm not going to be able to do it. Frenchie then makes the virus. Annie is mad at Huey. Let's talk about that later.
Mhm.
The seven who's around the tower starts killing everybody that's there. Ryan also comes down to see Butcher down in the basement, and has no time for Ryan to come around and be used
10
against his
seconds.
dad. Butcher feels bad. Ooh, not gonna do it. Let's see. The boys go on the run. They get captured. Butcher drives away with the virus, and then Homelander sees that his old daddy boy is in a cage.
Yes. Oh God, so many twists and turns and some really big moments.
Oh yeah.
I think
Let's.
let's start with the couples, like the emotional punches.
Okay.
Um, right off the bat, you're talking about how Huey and Starlight, they get engaged and this is fake, and then she's like mad at him for a while there. I thought that was a very odd reaction. Like Huey had like no option in that case.
Yeah. Yes. To okay. I want to start. Why did the shapeshifter do all that? I have no reason why she would bait Huey like that was so strange to me. But then to go and try to propose was another weird twist. And like, I need to know what the goal was for this shapeshifter, because it just seems like unnecessarily cruel. You know?
Yeah, because after she deleted everything about Newman, she could have just disappeared. I think
Totally.
maybe she wouldn't want to, because then it would raise alarms of like, hey, where is she? And then of course, once she got into the bunker, she was very useful for Sage. But yeah, it is odd that that would even be a situation. So
Right. So yeah, goes down there, right? Starts, all hell breaks loose. So powerful. The shapeshifter is like Mystique with like juggernaut strength. Like it was insane. So yeah, Annie comes in and saves the day, and Huey asks, "Oh, how are you doing? Are you all right?" Of course, she's not all right, but he wasn't all right a couple episodes ago either.
Yeah.
So it's this, not tactfully done on his part either. But for her to get mad at him when she knows the shapeshifter looked exactly like her, that was strange. And I thought what he said, like, how I knew it wasn't you was because, you can never find your car keys. You instantly take off your sweats. And like, she was putting on all this designer clothing and whatever. That was like a good call. I thought like Huey was justified. I was like, I don't think he deserves to be blamed here.
I think it was for that moment. Maybe that's what this whole thing was. Is to set up that moment that shows that there's real love in between the two of them, which we've been getting already this whole time. In the end, it just kind of felt like it was a weird, slow part to an otherwise very fast-paced episode.
Yeah, to me, it didn't feel slow, but it was a weird character choice, I guess, for her. But there was a lot of, they really dove deep into like, who is Annie January in this episode? Like, there's always been that conflict. I don't want the suit. I don't want to be attached to this political stuff. Like, I just want to be me. I don't even know if I want to be a symbol of a hero. And this was like showing like she's still very much conflicted as to who she is. She's very much just messed up of what life has done to her. The Annie January or the Starlight that we got in the beginning of the series is not the person that we have here.
100%.
And yeah, I liked that they gave her a little bit more character growth in this one when I didn't know what else they could do with her.
What I do want to shout out is Erin Moriarty's performance, because the fact that she's able to play this unhinged villain, or even somebody who's just like trying to hide their personality, and Annie discovering herself and kind of embracing this, like, what she is or what kind of hero she wants to be, all in this one episode. I thought it was very, very well done. And even that fight scene, I was paying attention closely to see if I saw any mistakes or something like that. Did not. And again, Erin Moriarty really nailed that.
God, you're so right. She killed it on this episode. F all the haters. She is a phenomenal actress. And she really played two roles very differently. We've seen in other shows lately, that's not the case always, even for big budget shows. So she did a great job.
Try not to call it out.
I didn't say any names.
The other relationship that it was like about damn time was Frenchie and Kimiko. I was so overjoyed when these two finally kissed. I was like, about freaking time, guys. Get out there.
I was clapping. I was clapping to my TV. I was so happy about it. It was so sweet. They're like, they've done horrific things. And Kimiko is a literal Wolverine. Like, she just rips people's faces off. And yet, gosh, she's the sweetest character. There's that part where after the boys come back after saving President Singer, and Frenchie's like, who has two thumbs and is the man? And then turns around and looks at them. He's like, what the F happened to you guys? And, all of them look completely disheveled and beat down, except for Kimiko, who's like, hi. Like that was adorable. But yes, when they finally kiss up there, I loved it. I've been rooting for these kids for so long, and here we are. And it was great.
And the resulting arc for Kimiko, where she started off kind of feeling, she saw like these kid cages and stuff like that she came from, and knows her background, and her voice was lost because of this. And it dawning on her in this episode, it's all about forgiveness. We might not be able to beat Homelander. We might not be able to do anything, but at least we can forgive ourselves and move on. And so that's when she's able to fully tell Frenchie, like, no, I actually have always loved you. And then at the very end of the episode, she speaks. So it's like, oh yeah, she's gotten past the trauma a little bit. This is it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well said. Well said. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing a little bit internally because you said kid cages, and it shouldn't be funny, but like the way you said it kind of like made me chuckle in my head. That's a terrible thing, but
Yeah.
but
You heard it here
yes,
first, guys. Thomas is laughing at kid cages.
it was the way you said it. Okay, you said it like it was you were a comedian and you were doing a Netflix special.
Gotta,
But like,
K's are funny. K's are funny.
yeah, but yeah, she did such a good job this season too. I think her name is what was her name? Fukuhara, something like that.
Karen
But
Fukuhara.
Karen Fukuhara, yeah, she's so good. I love Karen Fukuhara. Just think she's outstanding, and the way she's able to convey so much while being a mute character, and then rightfully, it feels earned. Like at the end, as Frenchie gets pulled away, she, starts basically saying no and screaming. It's like holy crap. Also tying it into the Gen V kids was like holy crap. Like everything's
Yeah.
connected, but. Yeah, yeah, she really had some cool arcs in this season, and it really just kind of brings it all home for how their relationship has got to this point, why they have always meant to be together. And even though she was like, you should go be with Colin, she never meant it, never did it feel like she meant it anyway. But, Frenchie had to go on his own path and figure out his own things. And even though they feel like we're flawed and we did these terrible things, and how can we ever live with ourselves? I think Huey's speech speaks to like their growth, and also like, no, we're trying to be better, and you know what, we don't have to live with our shame of what we've done. We can move past it. And God, it was so good, so good.
One of the last things I want to make sure to not miss is the fact that Kate, she has the ability to whisper people and can change their mind or move their mind. And they didn't just kill Frenchie; they had him load up, which to me says, Frenchie's gonna be making that virus again. So I think they might want to use the virus or have this weapon that they could use to take out the the supes that are not on their side.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't know the timing of everything, right? They go off in three different directions. It's like three different groups of the boys. If they weren't able to capture Mother's Milk, or if they weren't able to capture Huey and Starlight, which they didn't with Starlight, now they have an ace in the hole. They're like, hey, if you want to save your friend, we still got him. So like,
Yeah.
you're right. I think he'll definitely be used to make something, probably another virus. But even if he doesn't, there's so many different ways they can use him to manipulate the rest of the group.
What if this? What if they have him make a virus that instead of killing all supes, actually makes them immune and kills all humans?
Yeah, yeah, man, that's pretty crazy. That's a thought. They could, right? I mean, if he can make a virus that single-handedly focuses on something in someone's bloodstream
Yeah.
to then kill them, why couldn't he do the opposite for humans? Like, it's so possible.
It seems so likely. So it's going to be a wild, torturous season for French, and for all of our boys actually at the end of this, because we saw them all getting captured, all but one, Butcher. Oh God, yeah, I love to
Yeah.
hate him sometimes. He starts off, he's
too.
in that room, the hospital bed. That call he makes to Huey breaks my heart. It just felt like a real
Wow.
goodbye.
Oh my God, yeah. Carl Urban, like they're just, they're letting him eat on this
Yeah.
season. Like he got to do everything. He got to like be Butcher, but he got to be vulnerable. He got to be a father figure. He was really trying to do what was right for Ryan. But yeah, that goodbye was definitely like, I'm never seeing you guys again. It also makes me curious how he got better, unless he fully just allows the tumor symbiote to take over,
That's it right there.
but yeah, which I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but like, okay. But that still, yeah, that conversation with Huey was fantastic. Even though the conversation with Ryan was so good, like every part of it. I was
It
just like, I
was.
want to see how this goes between them, like I should have been your father. Like, yeah, I'm not your father, but I should have been. And yeah, then Mallory Grace kind of screws it up, like Butcher kind of screws up the plans at the end of the episode. So
Mallory Grace, wise decision or not? I mean, we know it doesn't work, but I mean, I kind of can't blame her because she knows that this is the end of the world and we're at the edge. But also to train Ryan, it's going to take you a long time. You
Right.
can't be in a rush for the situation. And I think maybe she was just a little too hasty. It reminds me so much of how Kessler was talking to Butcher, saying like, just kill them all. We don't have the time to be toying with this. And Butcher's better side is like, I want to be a dad first.
right.
What do you think about her actions in this one?
No, it was too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved her performance and I loved
Hmm.
Ryan's
Yeah.
performance countering it. It was a great scene, all those scenes, but it was just like, let the kid go. Like, if it's
Hmm.
not today, it's tomorrow. Like, the world is not gonna single-handedly explode in this one moment. So let the kid go. You see that Butcher's getting across to him. Why are you gonna run, like, mess up that whole plan? It
Yeah.
just seemed ridiculous in a way, but yeah. But I think it's necessary for this episode.
Do you feel like we're gonna? Okay, so we have confirmation that the show is not going to follow the comic books for season 5. Do you feel like Ryan is going to be going against or with Homelander in the end?
In the end, I can totally see him going against.
Hmm.
Butcher is so dead set on having this virus leak that I think, and now knowing that he has well, I mean, he has a ton of V. He's had a ton of V in his system, but he has like VV in his system. Like he's gonna, I think, for next season sacrifice himself. So I don't think Ryan sticks with him. I think Ryan is a better version, but it doesn't save Ryan's life if the virus
Yeah,
gets out. I think he's,
I think
I think he's done.
I think you nailed it there. It's kind of something that we thought Newman might do, where we're going to see Butcher sacrifice himself. Ryan will see that and see like, oh, that's how important this is.
Hmm.
And maybe like that'll be Butcher's last thing is like, this is for your mom or some shit, whatever. And then boom, we have that
Right.
go for it. And so it could finally cinch him into one side or the other.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But yeah, I don't see a world where he could possibly survive and it be fine. You know,
Yeah.
as these soups are going to do next season, I mean, they're literally being deputized and turned into, elite guards around the country. You know, how could anybody trust the soup after this, especially when you're like, wait a second, all these super powerful beings where we can't just shoot them are now in charge of all of our lives and we can't do anything to go against them. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe that wasn't a good idea. You know, I
Yeah.
don't see anybody trusting any soups after this is done.
It reminds me of my absolute favorite X-Men story, Days of Future Past, where there's a future that, like, hey, the Sentinels seem like they're going to help us out. They're going to take out these dangerous mutants. But in the future of Days of Future Past, the Sentinels have basically, policed every side of that conversation.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
it's something that nobody wants. And like, it's dystopian across the board. And so I think that's what we're going to get. And the people that were initially the villain, which in this case is the boys, and over there is the X-Men, are the ones that eventually save the day, saving those who oppressed them in the first place, the humans,
Yeah.
and other mutants. So I think it's going to be kind of very similar to Days of Future Past. Maybe no
Yeah.
time travel, but we never know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's got to be a soup out there that has that power. But you're right. One of the best lines ever from X-Men the animated series, I think it was season 1, is when they go to Master Mold, and they're like, you were meant to create Sentinels to not only control or like to not take over humans, but to kill mutants. And they're like, that is a fallacy. Humans or mutants are humans. And then Bolivar Trask is like, what? No.
Yeah.
And it's like that
Trask, what a
realization.
dirtbag.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, and so completely, yeah, I think this is going to show the rest of society, like, yeah, when you put this dictator in charge, yeah, we should be better, make, America soup again. It's going to be, yeah, when you put somebody like that in charge, you're going to lose the freedoms you think that they were fighting for you to get.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But
Speaking of injecting V, someone just added a bunch of V to their system when she realized, like, oh, I'm first on the list to kill. Is
yeah,
that
she turned into the leader.
Swear to God, that's what I thought too. When that was happening, I was like, she's gonna be the leader. She's gonna be smarter than Sage. you know.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what kind of monstrosity that is. But you notice that her wig fell off, and we saw that whole like her hair still because she's pulling her hair out. There's so much
Yep.
stress dealing with these people. So I never thought I would give a crap about her, but now, kind of like A Train, I'm a little bit rooting for her. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, like everybody else, I mean, she is human and she's afraid. Like there's that's what the show does so well. Everybody has a fear. We even see it speaking about another person who's losing their hair. Like Homelander's whole jar is now filled with white hair.
Yep.
He looks in the mirror and he goes pathetic. Like
Yeah.
the thing he hates the most about himself is his humanity, and he wants to be above it, but he's not. That's still always going to be in there, whether it was conditioned because he was in the lab or just because these soups at their core are still humans. Like it was such a good kind of comparison, I think, in this episode where he looks at her as so much less than, and because of that, she then takes the V out of fear, and it's completely justified. I still despise her character, but I completely understand all of the things why she does what she does. She doesn't want to get brutally murdered. I get that.
It's like sympathy, right? You feel
Yeah.
bad for that character, and you're like
Totally.
you put yourself in that spot, but also you're trapped. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like Leon Greyjoy, I think from Game of Thrones. I mean, he
Leon.
was a little too messed up when he like tricked the Starks and completely betrayed them. But later on, when he's getting called Reek and just getting abused, and he thinks he's gonna be safe, and the whole time it's just I forgot what the guy's name is. It's toying with him, like that
Ramsay,
is just
yeah.
yeah, it's terrible, you know. And so you understand, you're like, God, what he did was he's a piece of shit. But man, does anybody deserve to be that tortured? And I kind of feel that way about her, and definitely with what happened in Homelander.
Okay, real fast. So with Theon Greyjoy, those are actually two random kids that they found because he couldn't himself actually kill the Stark brothers that he grew up with. So those are actually random kids that were already going to get invaded and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I love Theon so much. Like he's such a great character. So yeah, shout out to him. back to the boys.
Yeah. There you go. By the way, thanks. Yeah. There's your Game of Thrones tip of the day.
But there's more to come. But yeah, returning to this Homelander, the way that he sees that picture in Ryan's backpack, and he just destroys the room. And then going to the other part where we see him drinking that milk and saying that it's getting Firecracker sick, and he's like still drinking the milk but having her scoot down. He has visible weaknesses.
God, that scene is amazing. Maybe I have a very twisted humor today, apparently, because it was terrible. I felt so bad for her, but it's such a Homelander move. Be like, scoot down. And she's like torturing her body to give you something that you like, and you don't even care. You're like, scoot down. You're disgusting. God, Anthony Starr, just incredible.
Impeccable.
He's incredible.
And it's a metaphor. I don't want to say names, but it's a metaphor for the political party that they're echoing here. The idea that they have this like demigod that they'll literally kill themselves for. And that person doesn't give a crap about you. They want something from you. And if you don't have that thing, you're absolutely nothing to them. So I like how much they're like, there's heavy handed metaphors and lighter metaphors in this whole thing.
Right.
They're doing it very well. Kripke, right? Is the
Kripke, Eric Kripke.
Kripke.
I
Wonderful job.
literally told Christina after this, I will watch anything Eric Kripke does. It's
I'm on
like
board too.
completely made me think I need to go back and watch all of Supernatural. He is phenomenal. The real life comparisons in the show. At the time we were recording this, I don't know what side of the political spectrum you're on, and yeah, maybe this is maybe too controversial to say, but with what has happened in our political sphere and then what's going on at the RNC convention right now, it's like too much similarities.
I forgot he did Supernatural. So obviously we have a ton of Supernatural on this show. A lot of we're actually going to be adding more next season.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Soldier Boy that we see at the end.
Yeah,
like
and the other one too of the two brothers is joining next season. So we're actually going to have both brothers from Supernatural and their dad, which is Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Why am I blanking on his name right now?
I'll pull it up real fast. It's on the side here. Sorry, Jared Padalecki.
Padalecki, yeah, that's right.
Plays Sam Winchester. So one of the Geek Freaks, his name's Daniel. He is an avid fan of Supernatural. There's like 16 seasons or something, and he's watched them maybe 10 times all the way through.
Wow.
He's going to the Supernatural convention in San Francisco. I think it's this weekend, actually, even. It's crazy. And so I'm like, hey, Daniel, I might have to actually watch Supernatural now. So
yeah. Oh my God. 100%. Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to, we had somebody on the Joystick Show called Two Nerds and a Podcast, and they basically are massive fans, and they went to Supernatural Con last year, I think. So that was super cool. And hearing them, and God, if you want to know, I mean, you got Daniel, but like my experts now, if I have Supernatural questions, it's them. And it actually sounds like a pretty cool event as well.
And the show actually sounds pretty good. Like, it gets crazy, but in like a fun way. Like, we literally had an episode of Geek Freaks where we just let him cook. Like, all right, explain Supernatural to us. And we literally had him go from like season to season, totally exploring the world. And it was just like, go for it, buddy. And it was kind of a fun episode hearing about like, oh yeah, then God's sister did this. I'm like, what the hell? It's going crazy. But yeah, I mean, obviously a wonderful creator, and it does make me want to visit his other series.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, I kind of want to go back to President Singer, though, because we were kind of touching on it. We find out later that he kind of you know, it was like, I would never, you know, back a vice president who wasn't honest about the platform they ran on. We need to get her out of here. We need an emergency election now. And then the ace in the pocket is Sister Sage coming in and saying, or having somebody on the inside in the underground bunker that then feeds the video of the president saying, like, I told you guys to kill her a long time ago, then getting the president arrested. And, you know, that which has never happened in our country, but to see a president arrested, we've gotten one convicted now, is very, very crazy to look at. And it was just like, holy crap. But Sister Sage's plan is just like, I knew this wasn't going to be the end of her, but man, where do you think they go? Oh, they have a new president by the end of it, right? I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on all this?
I love Sister Sage. She's one of my favorite characters of the series. And we called it early on that like everything looks like it's going wrong is all her plan. And she walked into that room, Homelander sitting there crying, and she's like, hey, you got a call from the president. I made this happen. Like, I love how too, like when she's like, you know, then we just ended up getting him. And then she like pointed to the TV, and it was just like exact timing that it was like she knew what timing they were going to broadcast it. So it's just so wonderful. Question for you: do you think it was the shapeshifter that she had employed? I had assumed it was to record the president saying that.
Yeah, that's my thought. Or there could have been a Secret Service person that was killed, and she was like, "I will make sure your family is set for life if you know, just take some footage of whatever the president says." You know, and that's just the crazy part is like, I think Sister Sage did have something to do with the shapeshifter, but she could have had her hands in everywhere. Like she was on the streets, you know, buying illegal drugs, and she was, I don't know, like at that TruthCon convention talking to people, and like she was so smart, so well done. And I love sometimes, you know, obviously you can't end the whole show this way, but when the evil genius wins or when the bad guy wins, case in point, Infinity War, that one time you're like, oh my God, what else is in store? Like, how did they get out of this one? This episode did that.
It really did, and I love her motivation of just like, I just wanted to see if I could, which is what the promise from Homelander in episode 1 of this season was. Hey, have you ever wanted to try? And she did, and she loved it, and she's like, I'll see you on the next one. And he's like, next time? He's like, oh, we're just at the beginning kind of thing.
Yeah, phase 2 starts tomorrow.
She's so good at this. I'm absolutely such a big fan of hers. Well performed and well done. And obviously she has this one weakness where she needs to shut her brain off, and I really can't wait to see how that gets utilized next season. That's going to be a blast.
It is. Yeah. And also, like, when she shuts off her brain, she's a complete horn dog. Like, anybody can get it. She's catching bodies. So, like, she's an amazing character. Shout out to that actress for sure. Yeah. Now, the other thing, too, is behind those closed doors, Homelander brings in the rest of the 7, which is now only 4, really, and has that conversation, right? This is, you know, right before Ashley runs out and is like, I better take V. That's the only way I'm going to live. We see that he says he gets a list of all the people that they need to kill, or you know, I actually suggest like we need to fire them and get them to sign NDAs or whatever, right? They go through and start murdering everybody. There's one joke that I just like cracked me up to no end. I thought it was so well done. It's Trace Crawford's The Deep after like Firelight can't. Does her powers even work? She just like guns down that one dude.
Yeah. Why didn't she use any of her powers? How is she superpowered? Anyways,
she's supposed to be a riff off Jubilee. Yeah, exactly. And she doesn't use it ever. She literally like just starts a firecracker. But anyways, The Deep is, you know, assaulting one of the people that were on the list. And he's like, tell me I'm smart. Tell me I'm, you know, you respect me. He's like, you just say that because you're afraid of the guy's like, no. And then he's like, you know, I'll pay you whatever you want to The Deep. And The Deep's like, we all know writers aren't paid that well. Come on. Yeah. It just was such a great meta joke. It caught me so off guard. And I was literally LOLing. It was just so good. I loved that joke. And how Kripke is just writing to the narratives that we see in real life. Again, we were talking about it off mic about all the writer strikes and actor strikes last year. They were asking for 3% more pay. And the studios were like, yeah, we don't want to give it to you. Meanwhile, executives are getting $150 million bonuses. Like, it was just... it was such a well done meta joke. I loved it.
It's very tight writing. We see that kind of writing on It's been done on, I know for sure on the Veep, because I remember very well it was them making fun of SNL, which is where she came from, is SNL. The Simpsons have done it a few times. Some of the most tightly written shows, 30 Rock's done it, most tightly written shows do that, and it shows the quality and the standard that they set high for themselves at The Boys. That, again, going back to Aaron and stuff like that, it's just, it's well done. Enough for that small little line to catch you. The other one that it caught me, that I was like, that's a good bit. I actually tweeted out that I took it down, but the idea this entire season we've been watching about A-Train, like prepping for A-Train stuff, and then they're just like real quickly said like, oh yeah, we actually just made more money off the tax write-off, and that's the end of that entire movie.
Yes,
Great.
right at the beginning of the episode on Vietnam.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, I'm so happy
fast.
to remember that. Yeah, exactly. It was just that meta commentary on everything that happened at HBO and Max, cutting the Batgirl of it all. I was just like, yes, they did that. Oh my God, that was so good. It just feels like, it's like redemption. It was like the original X-Men, with Cyclops saying, oh, what do you think, we would be wearing yellow spandex? To now in X-Men 97 saying, what do you think, we'd be wearing black leather? It's just like, oh, yes. Redemption. I'm so happy you called it out. I actually found the exact quote that the Deep says too to that guy, which is, you're a writer. You don't get paid shit. Oh my God. I just loved that. That's so good.
That's just such good writing too. It's wonderfully done. Wonderfully done.
So good done.
I'm excited to see the Deep die. I can't wait for someone to take that dude out so much.
Yeah.
And if I have my way, it would be A-Train that comes back and does it. If not Starlight, of course, Starlight was from day one assaulted by him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Chance getting his butt kicked.
Yeah. I wonder like if he wasn't killing it in this role, like would he still be around this long? You gotta have him because he's such a pawn to Homelander, and he's so over the top, and he is actually so dumb that it just like it's kind of great watching him try to fumble through life and not even be close to as smart as Homelander, which Homelander was very outmatched this whole season.
Yes.
But we see how his trauma that gets put on the Deep then enacts on people lower than him, right? Like the bully people become bullies. And it's just such a well done analogy, and he's such a well done character. Like, yeah, that guy's so good.
I think you need him around so that you can see people like Maeve and A-Train in comparison. Because if you didn't have him, you would assume everybody would eventually be redeemed. Like they would all go on this certain arc away from Homelander, but he's showing an arc that goes the other direction. Like, let me embrace Homelander. Let me go into the darkness more because there's safety there too, in a very odd way. And so I think we do need the Deep for that. In the comic books, he's a very different character from my understanding. Like he actually wears like a helmet and stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see comic book wise how close he is.
Yeah, true. I purposely have not read The Boys because I didn't want anything spoiled. And yeah, you're right though. The Deep isn't one of those characters that comes up a lot when they mention the comics. Now Huey is definitely one of those characters, and I think Jack Quaid again absolutely crushed it. I don't know if we got to mention this part, but the speech he gives to the remaining boys, minus Butcher, was so good too. The way it makes Kimiko and Frenchie look at each other as they're like coming back to each other, the way it kind of makes Mother's Milk kind of realize everything that's happened this season and what his place is in this team. And he tries to give the role back to Butcher. He tries to be a good dad, and somehow he just keeps getting sucked back in as the de facto leader. And man, that speech hit me hard. Jack Quaid killed it.
Yeah, when I was doing my notes and then writing the article for it, what I realized was this entire series so far has been showing us the gradual growth of Huey. He went from this like boyfriend with a revenge complex to now, honestly, probably the best choice for leader. And this entire season, we've been debating like who's going to be the leader. And Huey can take it. Why? Because he knows what it is to be human, and he's embracing the humanity side of things. He's not CIA oriented or anything like that. And so I'm really excited to see how he takes humanity and uses that, which might be the thing that brings Brian over too, to fight the boys, or fight Homelander in the Seven.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, if we want to be the Supes, we can't be at their level. We have to be human. We have to do it. Saves our humanity. And I love how he ends it with saying mercy is brave. And it's just like, it's nice, like so many times I feel like I see it in public discourse now. It's like, oh, just kill that guy. He deserves the death penalty. He seems like that. That's not the answer. Like the murder isn't always the answer in real life, and I love that The Boys is using this fictional world to kind of get that point across. Like you can, you reason why you like things is it's entertaining, but at the same time, this is a message done right. As a lot of people talk about like, oh, Marvel and Disney so woke and it's preaching to us all the time. And I agree, there's some things that become a little bit too preachy, but this is delivering you a message in a way that really, it's still entertaining and it still drives the narrative forward and it makes sense for the character. Like the character would feel like that. The character would say that kind of thing. And it's just, Jack Quaid, man, like this whole cast is phenomenal, but I just really love what they've done with his character, and knowing more about Jack Quaid and seeing him other things. It's like, wow, he's so good. Like this guy's cooking. It's so good.
I'm a big Jack Quaid fan now, and I want him to do so many more things. The message reminded me, we covered the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, same kind of ending, where it was like, hey, love is an option too, and like love is what won the day. And so I was getting those vibes when I was watching Jack say that speech, and I was like, yeah, there is another option. You don't have to be violent all the time. It was really fun.
It was so good. Yeah, it was so good.
Well, who else do we have to mention? I think we kind of hit everybody, really. Black Noir got his murder boner, so he's in a good spot now.
That was so ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah. It got me for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, the boys. Do we say enough about the Butcher's tumor symbiote?
Let's talk about, the Butcher and Newman we still need to touch on a little more too.
Okay.
But yeah, so Butcher, he's in there. He's trying to convince Ryan, and eventually, once Ryan leaves, and he sees like, hey, I might actually have to take that kid out. And he's days away from the end of his life. He just finally gives everything away to that cancerous tumor with a sentient mind, which is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who does a wonderful job. And he's back, and he's now on a rampage. What do you think about his abilities?
Yeah, I was like, it's a cool comparison to Venom. That character. I was like, oh, that's a sick way to do it. Like the tumor is actually like a symbiote. I was like, that's pretty cool. Gosh, I was mad at Butcher though when he comes in at that last minute, at minute 0, and the boys pretty much have figured out how to move forward, and they're gonna have Newman on their side, the head popper herself. Like, yeah, this is gonna be great. They finally have a leg up. Butcher comes in and ruins everything. It's just like, dude, what did you do? It just it made me so kind of frustrated with him at that moment. But yeah, he might be the only one that can truly stop Homelander now.
Very much so, him and Ryan, but also I think that goodbye speech we had to Huey, and then also his kind of goodbye to his son, I think is goodbye from Butcher that we have, like the one that has any redemption left in him. And now we're fully like, hey, there's 2 bad guys on the show that we have to worry about. One of them being Billy Butcher. So I can't imagine, we might get a Darth Vader ending for him, where at the last minute he does something heroic, but for the most part, I think we're going to be watching him being on a rampage as well. He'll probably be killing soups that are good or bad next season. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like an unstoppable Terminator.
Which there's going to be a lot of people for him to fight then, as all of these heroes become deputized and then, are going to be based around the White House, the Capitol, that kind of stuff. So I don't know how he's going to use the virus by itself though. Like, you think he's going to shoot Homelander directly, or do you think, because it was spread through bodily fluids, right?
Yeah. But so, they talked about with Newman, when Frenchie had it in the gun, make sure you hit a soft part of tissue. So I think he has to just somehow get that into Homelander, which I don't think any of Homelander's tissue soft. So he might have to shove it down his throat. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's probably going to have to. Yeah,
Ant-Man with Thanos. Have to do that move.
That could be an option. If anybody would do it, it would definitely be the boys. So that's it. Yeah, it's a very interesting place, and I completely agree with you. I think he's pretty much a bad guy, disconnected from the Butcher we know, or maybe the Butcher we haven't seen in a long time from season 1.
Which is all the better that Huey has stepped up as the new leader now. In a way. And I mean, I know not by title, but definitely by vibe. And so now I'm already imagining the posters where we're going to see like the 2, Butcher and Homelander, facing in different directions. And in the middle is Huey. That's going to be like, hey, I represent humanity. These 2 are psychos. That's going to be, I just cannot, it's going to be so long until we get more of this. And it drives me crazy.
I know. But I could see myself rewatching this season. It was so damn good. Newman too. I did not expect her to get killed.
I did not. She had real vulnerable moments. Yeah, she actually made you kind of like, get to safety. Although she's been bad so many times, she doesn't deserve it in my opinion. But there were at the end there, you're just like, you got to protect the girl. Which at the time I thought like, wait, did the girl die too? And then post credits, but
that was messed up. Like none of the boys basically took her in either. It was just like, oof, that's harsh.
Yeah.
back to that facility where we've seen so many other people go and how messed up it makes them. So yeah, oof, that was tough.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't just send her to Giancarlo Esposito. You think he wants
Oh,
to take care of her?
yeah, that's a good point. Why didn't they do that?
Yeah.
That's a good call. He would have loved. He loves her.
Yeah.
Did he go back to prison though? I
No,
think
he's on the
after the
loose
farm
because
episode.
Newman broke him out of the car. Remember?
That's right. Yeah. What the heck then? And maybe
Yeah.
they didn't know that. I don't know. That could be an explanation, but that is a good point. And yeah, really sad that she's put in that facility. But bringing in other characters too that we've seen from other shows like Gen V, seeing Kate, seeing
Mm-hmm.
Sam with them capture. What was it? Was that Frenchie
Frenchie,
and
yeah,
Kimiko?
Frenchie and Kimiko. Hmm.
Yeah, that was a super cool tie-in. I like how they used those Gen V characters this season. There was also that girl. I think she was from season 2 in one of the facilities that Lamplighter was
Yeah,
at.
she's
Yeah, that
cool.
she comes out and like captures Huey and Starlight. Starlight finds her power, flies away like Iron Man. It was
Hmm.
ridiculous. That was super cool. And it's just great how much Mother's Milk hates Love Sausage, and of course they send Love Sausage to get Mother's Milk. So
So
good.
gross.
So gross. So gross. But it's yeah, and for some reason, I think his name is like Alonzo something. The actor that plays Mother's Milk is like, I just don't like stop putting me in these gross scenes to Kripke, and Kripke's like, I'm sorry.
No
You
way.
gotta keep
Yeah,
going in these.
it's too funny.
It's just gonna it's gonna get grosser and grosser, buddy. So yeah, that was really
we
well
need
done.
we need to see Emma. We need to see Marie. We need to see Jordan Lee. Everybody else, unfortunately, we won't see Andre, of course.
Yeah.
But everybody from Gen V. I want Gen V's good guys to step up because I really enjoyed that first season, and so they're going to be out there. I would say fighting the good fight. I don't
Yeah.
remember. Didn't they get captured by Homelander in the end of Gen V?
Yeah, because at the end of this season, right, at the end of Gen V, we see that all of the heroes that we were following, Marie, Andre, Jordan, all of them are underneath that facility. They're captured. But we also see it in this season, they seem to have disappeared. They have escaped. But we also know Kate and Sam are out there. So, this season ends. We then get Gen V season 2, I think. And then we get The Boys season 5.
Yeah. So in Gen V season 2, we'll probably see the events of this season going on because it happened with the last Gen V, and then it reminds me so much of a Nomad's crew during Civil War. I think we might get a little bit of that. Would be kind of fun.
Be
And
cool.
then eventually, so hopefully teaming up with Huey or somebody who escaped. That'd be or actually Starlight probably.
Yeah. I think you're right. Starlight would make the most sense for finding them and then bringing them into this fight. And then it's like, yeah, this girl who could like touch you and then whisper in your ear and control you. She captured one of them, and this kid who was just super strong, And then they'd be like, yeah, that's Kate and Sam. So it makes their story personal to this whole fight as well. Yeah. Oh God, the boys is just
The
so
boys.
good, so good.
I can't wait for more of this world, man.
Yeah. So at the end of this too, the last kind of mid-credit scene, we see that Homelander is brought down from the president, and we see that Soldier Boy is basically put on ice, kind of again making that Winter Soldier comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is I love that they did that. It's kind of funny because it's like he embodies Captain America, but really he's a Winter Soldier.
And I think once he's brought back, I'm pretty sure Winter Soldier will just be on Homelander's side now. Because
You think
where
so?
we are at in the storyline, the fact that Homelander's in charge, I think that's kind of what Winter Soldier, or I keep saying Winter Soldier,
Yeah, with
What
the
he
Soldier
would-
Boy.
Soldier Boy, what he would want. I think he would want,
Yeah.
like, okay, look, humans are weak. Let's just get to it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you finally did it. Nice, son. Okay, you
Yeah.
stopped being a puss or whatever he would say, something like that.
Which
So-
Homelander, when he sees his dad, definitely is. Because, like, he starts to cry a little bit and he's like, my papa.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, your psyche is shattered.
Shattered. It's just so good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we already talked about when he's sitting in the floor, I thinking that his whole plan's gone to crap, and Ryan, doesn't love him. Oh God, Anthony Starr is just amazing. I'm glad they were able to carry him on through all these seasons, and yeah, he's gonna be a wild man next season. He just
he is.
pushes the president out of the way. He's unstoppable.
Yeah. It's going to be good, guys. I think that's pretty much it I've got on this. I went through my notes and that's pretty much everything. It's just how freaking
Yeah.
how much fun I had.
Oh my God, yeah. This show is so good, but I think before we get to season 5, I'm gonna have to watch everything all the way through from season 1. It's been so
Yeah.
long since I've done that, and there's like a lot of tough moments to get through. But
Hmm.
this truly feels like a culmination of everything. It's a culmination of everybody's arcs, everybody's stories, their relationships, the way they've kind of gotten together. Seeing Frenchie and Kimiko and Huey and Starlight, and Huey and Butcher and the boys. Like it's just, I mean, we even got to like the bad guy side, which is the boys. Like,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, the seven.
Seven.
Man, whew, so good. It's the best show ever.
It is. Okay, so one of the things that we were talking about over on Geek Freaks is Mother's Milk came out in an interview, and Anthony Starr agreed with him. Is they want movies after this?
Ooh,
What do you think about doing the boys movies? Jonathan brought up a good point. It would be really fun if they did the Seven movies. Do the movies that are in universe, so that we're watching a really cheesy, like if you're paying attention, that's evil Homelander trying to be a hero, like you would in Avengers
yeah,
movie.
yeah. That would be sick. Where that would be a tricky movie, I think, to sell because we know that they're villains. So the whole time we're just kind of watching these actors. But there's some cool things they could do with it. Like at the end, they could shift to show us what the heroes, quote unquote, are actually feel like how they feel about the movie at the end. Or you could tie it into the beginning of season 3, where all of a sudden you get to the premiere of that movie. And so
Yeah.
now it ties back to season 3. Or the other thing I think that would be the most probable is you do half the movie that's like that, where it is like the real movie that we're watching, and then half of everything behind the scenes of like what Vought thinks about it, how the boys are trying to stop these heroes while they're filming the movie or whatever. So it still feels like the show, but
Yeah.
that's a cool idea. I dig it.
What I would like is like, so we see somebody's robbing a bodega. Homelander comes in, rips that person in half, and the idea is that you're supposed to cheer, like, "Oh, he saved the bodega!" And like, but as an audience, you're like, "You just ripped that dude in half." And then
Right.
the villain would be somebody who's coming in with like an inclusion message or something like that. Would be somebody who's
yeah.
like, and so then
How
it's
it would
like.
be.
Exactly, but in the universe of that movie, it would feel like that's the thing. But of course, as an audience member, you're like, I'm rooting for the villain. Thanos,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
baby! It would be a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, I think they could do it. And yeah, just the way they've done the meta things and how media works now and those messaging and everything. I mean, like the VOT 57 show or whatever it was called, basically like D23 or Comic-Con or whatever. Those panels were just so good. So yeah, if anybody could do a really good meta story about it and put it into a movie, it's these guys.
I loved how because every morning I go through multiple different websites, entertainment news or whatever, kind of gathering them for whatever I do. And it was funny how much like Forbes and things like that were mad at that episode specifically because they're like, hey, there's more that goes into this than what they're showing. It's like, that's not the point.
Yeah, that's not the point. Yeah,
It's making
yeah.
fun of the presentations and it's making fun of us who get excited for it. Like, you're going to go to Hall H, dude. I'm so freaking excited for you. I'm jealous that you're going to be at Hall H, but they're making fun of how jealous I am for people to go to Hall H, So
Yeah,
you have to just laugh at yourself a little bit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. And everybody should. But yeah, I think it's also shows like it's also funny that these corporations do these things and how they can also like manipulate us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not people want to blame the news or whatever. There's a lot of great sources out there. If you want more unbiased news, they're out there. Go look for it. You know, you don't have to fall into the it's either CNN or Fox News thing. That's on you.
There's so much more.
But yeah, but I love that they've really shown the way the corporations probably think about us. You know, we're numbers, we're dollar signs. And so, yeah, it is. You're right. I think you're right, though. It is us having to look at ourselves and kind of be like, yeah, we're kind of the butt of the joke on this one.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, I mean, I think they do a good job. They do kind of the South Park thing where like everybody's getting made fun of, and
Right.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun. You see obviously
too.
both extremes of it and stuff like that, and it's a hoot. Yeah, it was a good show. God, I love the show. I hate that we don't have any more coming up. It's gonna be so long.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, we do these reviews, I think, really fast, and you know, we have to get through it and we watch it, and yeah, I try to like as much as I can to enjoy it. But you know, there's something to be said about going back and just like enjoy it all in one go, or
Yeah.
you know, watching 3 episodes at a time. And yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna do that for this one.
Yeah, not taking notes and stuff like that. I think I will as well. So next up, we have House of the Dragon. We've only got 3 more episodes of that, but the runtimes just came out for that, and it's like one of them is a little over an hour. The other 2 are like an hour and 15, hour and 20. So it shows how substantial those episodes are. We cover every single one of them here on Challenge Accepted, and then we're going to start getting into the movies. So you have 2 tasks, everybody who's listening along. Your first task is to start submitting movies that you want us to review. Hit us up on any of our social medias. We're going to catch that. We're going to add it to the list. Next task. Your next challenge. What am I saying task for? Your next challenge. Yeah, my Top Gun. Is to drop us a review. 5 stars if you can. If not, that's fine. Just let us know. Give us your feedback. We appreciate everything. It truly helps us grow and reach new people. That's the number one way you can help support this podcast. And guess what? It's completely free. Over on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, all of them. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well said. Yep. We want to hear from you guys. You'll probably see a lot of things from San Diego Comic-Con next week as we make fun of presentations like that, or I guess the boys does. So, but yeah, some of that stuff will be coming out too with, hopefully I get some really on the spot, in person, cool Marvel Studios news too. So yeah, man, we got the Russo brothers possibly coming back. Like, what a time.
Woo, I cannot wait to talk about that on the next podcast, man. Oh man, that's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Aloha.